I'm Xiaolin Chen.
And I'm Dan Benoit. Welcome to our video blog we're calling Casual is the New Formal.
Dan and I support formal tools at the Synopsys Verification Group. In these videos, we'll share some of the best practices we have learned from working with our customers.
We'll start with some general methodology recommendations. For example, how to plan a formal project, how to develop assertions, debug failures, and solve difficult properties. In future videos, we'll discuss tips and techniques specific to the Synopsys VC Formal tool. If you have ideas for formal topics you would like us to discuss, please reach out through your Synopsys contacts.
Well, thank you, Dan. Let's get started on our first topic. Let's start with formal verification planning. Actually, planning for formal isn't very different from planning for simulation. We have to establish verification objectives, then figure out how to meet those objectives. So Dan, where do those objectives come from?
Verification objectives come from the specification and the design structure. We can create a checklist of features for the behaviors we need to verify by reading the design spec. The design structure helps us decide how to partition the properties and whether the properties should be verified at the block or cluster level, or if they need to be verified at the system level. For example, if a design contains a bus interface unit, the spec will provide a list of transaction types. We might choose to formally verify that unit at the block level and plan our assertions to cover each of the transactions.
That's right, Dan. A key part of the verification planning is actually to choose the right tools and techniques to help you best achieve your objectives. So for example, you may want to choose to use formal to verify state machines, arbiters, bus interfaces, and memory controllers. And then choose other areas, leave them to simulation. For example, system level functionality and long serial packets, as well as functions that depend on the contents of large memories.
I agree. You might also want to avoid arithmetic data path properties, at least until you build some more expertise with formal. Start with something small that won't stress the capacity of the formal tools. So Xiaolin, how do you recommend new users get started with formal?
If you're new to formal, then we recommend you start with something small, some block containing FSMs, finite state machines, and write some simple properties to describe the behavior of the input, the output, as well as the internal logic. Once you have some properties proven, then you look to inject some bugs into the design and then see if those properties actually catch those bugs. And then if you look at the waveforms of those failure traces the formal provided you, you can find out how formal actually exposed those bugs, right? And this basic skills of writing properties and then debug properties, refining your environment will be repeated over and over again as you build up your environment to verify your design. So we also recommend that you take this small block through the whole flow, that is starting with the objectives and then develop your formal environment and then followed with coverage measurement and then finally sign off, right? Once you go through this experience, then you feel confident enough so you can conquer bigger formal tasks.
In future videos, we'll go into more detail on some of these processes that Xiaolin has just described. But until then, thanks for joining us on Casual is the New Formal.
Hope to see you soon.